Some people go home to find themselves. Other people go home and accidentally become the main character in everyone else's bad decisions. On this episode of Moving Panels, we discuss Tamara Drewe.
Welcome to Moving Panels, ignite the mic. From Gotham's alleys to galaxy's far, we dive in deep, we set the bar. Debates and takes, we bring the heat. Pull up a chair, join a seat. Moving Panels, where fandom takes flight. We review, discuss, and shed the light. Heroes, villains, every epic night. This is your show, your fandom's might.
Welcome to Moving Panels, the podcast where we discuss movies and TV shows based on, inspired by, and adapted from the world of comic books. I'm your host, Laramy Wells, and today is our special Valentine's date night, or Valentine's Day date night, however we title it. Yes.
Valentine's Day date night.
Episode, yeah.
Episode afternoon.
There you go.
Extravaganza.
And it's a celebration of complicated love in this episode, messy romance, characters who really should have just stayed single.
Work on yourself, go to therapy.
Yes. And of course, as you can already hear, this wouldn't be a Moving Panels date night episode without my favorite co-host. The person who has agreed to spend Valentine's watching these messy fictional relationships.
I didn't see Tim added to this group. He's your favorite co-host, right? No.
Please welcome my forever Valentine, my wife, Bethany.
Hi, Laramy.
Hi. So are you ready to discuss probably the least healthy Valentine's movie imaginable?
I don't know. We've discussed some real clunkers.
Yeah.
Not that this was a clunky movie.
No, but like for Valentine's Day.
Yeah. This is not like goals.
Yeah.
This is not, you don't watch this and go like, yes, this is what relationships should be.
Yeah, because again, we watched Barbarella.
Yes, we watched Barbarella. That's not relationship goals.
Not a very good.
Scott Pilgrim, not relationship goals.
Yeah, that one didn't age well.
Marry Me.
Marry Me was pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, Marry Me. And then, of course, the one we forgot in last week's one shot, the Superman and Lois episode. Probably the best one.
Probably the best.
Yeah, and then we forgot about it.
And then we immediately.
Yeah. But let's go ahead. Before we get into the movie, we talked about this last week, but if you didn't listen last week, we'll talk about it now. The story of Tamara Drewe has kind of a fun literary connection. And Bethany, you partially read Thomas Hardy's Far from the Madding Crowd.
I got about halfway through it. We did watch the movie.
And we watched the adaptation.
And I gotta say, like, I was pleasantly surprised. It was really well written. The story, I could see how you could get a modern take off of that story. I don't know how Tamara Drewe really did as far as holding it up to that story.
Yeah.
But yes, I did read half of that book and watched all of that movie.
Yes, we did watch the, what was it, 2015? Yeah. So what's crazy is that movie is more recent than the Tamara Drewe movie.
Yes.
What do you... So, and again, I know we saw the movie, we can talk about it, but what did you think about when it came to the original book?
Yeah.
Which you said came out in
1874?
Something like that, yeah. What did you think, or what do you remember most about Thomas Hardy's style of romance?
So, his style of romance, it's kind of all over the place, but basically the Tamara Drewe character, her name is Bathsheba Everdeen.
That's a name.
Yes, and she becomes this landowner and a farmer and doesn't want to get married because, especially during that time, that would be kind of ceding her power. She didn't want to give up her, she liked having a farm. She liked owning a farm and running the farm, and she was really good at it. And she knew that if she got married, she would have to kind of give over that control.
Yes.
And so her character more finds love through partnership, like an equal partnership eventually. And then there's another character in the story and she's kind of the distress, the maiden in distress, and her love story, it's more like she's the opposite of Bathsheba. She's fully dependent upon men to care for her, and it ends up literally killing her.
Yeah.
So it was a really good story.
Yeah, and more so, and we'll get into the details with the movie, obviously, as we go along, but more so as this being an adaptation, it more just kind of plays in the same sandbox.
Yeah, it's more just like there are 3 men
Yeah.
who captured this one woman's attention, and here's how it plays out.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and get into the movie we're talking about, and that is Tamara Drewe, which was originally released at the Cannes Film Festival on May 18th, 2010. So that kind of shows you this is more than just a graphic novel adaptation. And then it hit UK theaters on September 20th, 2010. I didn't see anything about an American release, which is probably one of the reasons why I had never heard of it.
Right. I think it came out while I worked at Blockbuster, like on DVD, because I remembered seeing that.
Yeah. But I don't know if it had an actual theatrical release. I think it was just in UK theaters. Again, we talked about some of this in last week's episode when I introduced Bethany to the movie. But just to recover this, is directed by Stephen Frears, who has, as we talked about, a very interesting career because he also directed The Queen and Dangerous Liaisons and High Fidelity. Right? Very big range of movies there.
Absolutely.
The screenplay, now we'll talk about the graphic novel in a minute, but the screenplay was written by Moira Buffini, who also worked on Jane Eyre, how you pronounce it, with Michael Fassbender, the one that came out like the very next year. The film was critically praised for its performances, for its wit, but audiences are divided because, I mean, this is not a story where everyone is a likable character.
Many are unlikable.
Yep.
And many of them are the main characters.
Yes, but it is messy on purpose.
Right.
Like, that is intended. It's not that they're trying to make us like these characters, and
which
we just don't.
I will say does also follow the Thomas Hardy story of the characters are messy. Like, nobody's perfect. And then, but it's who grows and not everyone matures.
Yeah. I don't know. I've forgotten
the character, the farmer that she ends up with, Gabriel,
that was it.
Oak. And because you and I talked about this they leave this out of the movie. In the book, Bathsheba saves his life. Like, he's milking a cow, and I kind of didn't follow exactly, but he basically passed out. He almost died of a heat stroke. And it was because he was being arrogant and wasn't paying attention. And a lot of his like folly at the beginning is because he's kind of arrogant and he thinks he knows better. And then he realizes like, oh no, I screwed up. And so you get to see like he gets humbled and he grows throughout the story, and he becomes, he gets jealous and he takes things out on Bathsheba when he really doesn't have that room to stand on. And now Bathsheba also screws up, and she plays pranks on people, and it really backfires on her, and she flirts with people but doesn't have any intentions. Like, she screws up. They all screw up, but not everybody learns from their screw ups. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Again, it's a messy story.
In the movie, they kind of play Gabriel as almost like this perfect character. He doesn't have to grow. He's been perfect the whole time.
Yeah.
Whereas in the book, he actually
as you wish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But in the book, he actually does have growth. You get to see him become a more mature person and a person who actually could partner with Bathsheba, as opposed to be like, no, I know everything.
Yeah. This is going to be fun because it's going to be, do we talk more about Tamara Drewe or do we talk about Far From the Madding Crowd? No. Again,
we just haven't had this moment. This episode's late because our life is crazy. And so we haven't had this moment to discuss Far From the Madding Crowd.
Yeah. But as far as Tamara Drewe goes, I usually like to let you know how you can watch it.
You can come borrow our DVD.
A Blu-ray. I have it on Blu-ray.
Oh,
yeah.
Fancy.
I think it is available to rent on a couple of streaming services, but it's pretty much you cannot find it.
Now, if you've got a time machine, you could go back like 12 years and rent it from Blockbuster. We definitely had a copy of it.
But to ask you, without getting too into a final decision or whatnot, did this feel, and we're going to Tamara Drewe.
Yes.
Did this feel more like a romantic comedy or more like a satire about romantic comedies?
Honestly, it felt more like a sex comedy of just like, here's a bunch of different scenarios and everybody is, feeling everybody literally and figuratively. And it's just like there are comedic situations. It didn't feel like romance. Honestly, the whole movie.
Nothing about it
felt romantic. And so that's why I would more put it into a sex comedy category than a romantic story.
Well, we'll get into more about it, but let's go ahead and get into the comic book connection.
Step into the panels, heroes in action. Flip through the pages for your satisfaction. Feel the thrill and join the collection. It's the comic book connection.
This film is based on the graphic novel Tamara Drewe, published in 2007, written and illustrated by Posy Simmonds, one of Britain's most acclaimed cartoonists. The story was originally serialized in The Guardian before being collected as a graphic novel, and it serves as a modern reimagining of Thomas Hardy's Far From the Madding Crowd, translating Hardy's rural romance and social gossip into a contemporary story about fame, desire, and small-town obsession. Its success as a sharp, literary/comic hybrid made it a natural candidate for adaptation, leading to this Stephen Frears 2010 film. So, you didn't look at any of the graphic novel?
No.
Yeah. So the graphic novel does kind of mix, like you read it like a novel and then there's panels, then you kind of read the panels. It's kind of interesting because when I flipped through it, I was like, how am I supposed to follow this? Because it would be like a paragraph off to the left and then like 3 or 4 panels over to the right. And it was like, do I read this much of it and then jump to a panel? But it flows pretty well.
Okay.
It was pretty easy to follow. There were even pages which it was just panel, like no dialogue. Like you're just looking at what the events that are happening. So it was a pretty easy read, I would say. There were no page numbers, and I was not going to sit there and count the pages to know how big it is, but it's a good 100-something pages, I would say. And it's a good size too for a book and a graphic novel. It's almost got like a children's book size to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a pretty good read. The artwork is great. It's always amazing to me when you can find a comic book writer who also does their own artwork.
Right.
And can do both very well. So it honestly made me a little bit interested to find out that she does have a couple other ones that are also inspired by literary works, because she's got another one that's based off of Madame Bovary.
Yes.
And so I might even take a look at that one down the road, which I don't think, did they make a movie on that one? Did we find that out? Yeah, we found out. Yeah, the Gemma Arterton also stars in that one. So yeah, we'll have to check that one out. But speaking of Gemma, let's talk about performances, because this cast is doing a lot in this movie.
They are.
And of course, it stars Gemma Arterton, however you pronounce it. I apologize if I mispronounce, which some might know as the Bond girl in Quantum of Solace. She was also in Prince of Persia, which I remembered, but I primarily know her from Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters.
What? Sorry, that's funny. Like, most people would go like, obviously, you know her from Bond Girl. You remember her from that weird Hansel and Gretel movie.
Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters.
Where Hansel had diabetes.
Yeah. Oh, man, I actually forgot that part. Yeah.
from
Yes, he
eating
did.
so much candy
Yeah.
as a child.
He had
He's now
diabetes.
diabetic.
He is diabetic. Remember that.
With-
Jeremy Renner
yeah.
playing Hansel. Yeah. So let me ask you about with her performance. Like, did Tamara feel like a sympathetic character to you? Because I kind of feel like Bathsheba had a little bit of that sympathy
Mhm.
in Far From the Madding Crowd. Or did you just feel like Tamara was more just like a agent of chaos?
I would say she's somewhere in the middle. She's not sympathetic in the true way that like characters are often portrayed as sympathetic. Like, I understand where she's coming from. I think the nose thing was kind of a stupid.
Yeah, that was
trite-
weird. That felt when I saw that in
If-
the trailer.
Yeah.
Before we even read the book, when I saw it in the trailer, I felt like, oh, well, that must be a connection to Far From the Madding Crowd.
Nope.
And it's not.
It's super duper not. The only thing I could think of, because I've been trying to feel like, why on earth would that be? One, it was made in 2010. So there's that side of it. There is one line that she says that I'm kind of like, okay, I kind of see where you were going there, but you didn't carry it through. And it's when she's having a conversation with that American author.
Glenn.
Yes. And she says, before my nose job, nobody had any problem taking me seriously. And like,
yeah. Well, I also like, because you've got Andy, who is the Gabriel match character, the fact that he liked her even then.
Yes.
And so I think that kind of makes the connection with Far From the Madding Crowd, when Gabriel...
He liked her before she had money.
Was successful. Yeah, before she had the big fancy house and got the inheritance, when she was just living in the cottage
with her aunt
on the other end of his property. Yeah. So I think that maybe that also kind of ties into the fact that she had this big nose. And
yeah, the whole thing with Tamara Drewe is that she comes back home and she's had a nose job.
Yes.
And now she looks completely the same every other aspect of her, except her nose is smaller.
Yeah. And so it makes her more attractive.
I will say, she does, like, people will bring it up. It's like, oh, I love your new nose. And she's like, it's not new. It's just smaller.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't know. I'm a little torn with it, because it's almost like they tried to gaslight everyone into thinking with a big nose she was just this hideous golem. She's not. She's still very attractive. She's just not like this perfect person.
Yeah. Oh, she's still not a perfect person.
No. But like this this model
perfect
Venus.
looking.
Yes, looking. But she's a very flawed character. And you get this like idea that she struggles with relationships with men, because she doesn't know if they like her for the way she looks or likes her for who she is. She has this infatuation with this awful human being. And you get kind of the impression, like, there's a couple throwaway lines of like, she's got daddy issues. And so she kind of clung to him. And I don't know. There's clearly like, they were trying to play into this insecurity that she had about herself, but it's like they didn't want to delve too much into that. So it's like they hinted at it, but it didn't pay off enough, in my opinion.
Yeah, there was a lot, because I think they mention it in the movie, but it was a lot more prevalent in the book, that she is a very successful like newspaper journalist,
which you really don't get a lot of.
Yeah. And she's a writer, like all these other people that are at this farm. You know, it's like a writer's retreat where they can come and get some silence while they're working on a book. She even herself is decided that she wants to take the next step, and she wants to write a novel. And Tamara is actually infatuated with the character of Nicholas. Like, she aspires to be he's successful author, and she wants to be one as well. And they I don't think they laid that in enough in the movie.
No.
We kind of see a hint of it in one of the flashbacks, where you can tell that she she did like
She was
him even when she was
infatuated.
younger.
Yeah.
But let's get into the love interests, I guess you would say,
Okay.
the three men that were vying for her affection. So you got Nicholas Hardiment,
Ugh.
played by Roger Allam or Allam. I don't know how you're supposed to pronounce his last name. Who I thought you would find interesting. I found out that in the London production of Les Mis, he is the original Javert.
That is so good for him.
Yeah.
I'm sure he did a good job. The actor did a good job. I hated that character.
Yeah.
I was supposed to.
Yes, I told you that right off the bat. I said you were not. As soon as you were like, I don't think I'm going to like him. I said, you're not. You're not going to like him. Then we've got Dominic Cooper as Ben Sargent.
Pre-Tony Stark, not Tony Stark.
No, well, this would have been just pre.
Yeah, pre-Stark, Mr. Stark, Daddy Stark.
Yeah, because I got to look. This would be right around the same time, though. Because he showed up in Captain America First Avenger, and that would probably have been 2011.
Okay.
So, right, real close. But yeah, of course, he's, Howard Stark, the young Howard Stark, I should say, in the MCU. Comic book fans might also recognize him as Jesse Custer on Preacher. And then again, giving that musical, he's Sky in Mamma Mia. Yeah. In fact, all three of these are musical guys. Because we also have Gaston from Beauty and the Beast, Luke Evans.
That's what I knew him from.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't realize it.
In the live action Beauty and the Beast.
No, I see it now. Yeah, no, as soon as you said it, I'm like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, Luke Evans, who also had been with Gemma Atherton in the Clash of the Titans remake.
Oh.
Many might also know him as Bard the Bowman in the Hobbit trilogy.
Oh.
I'm a big fan of Dracula Untold, where he plays Dracula. And then a movie I've been talking to you about wanting to cover, he plays Moulton Marston, the guy who created Wonder Woman.
Oh, yeah.
In the movie Professor Marston and the Wonder Woman. But yeah. So yeah, all three of the suitors of Tamara Drewe.
So you're telling me this could have been a musical and I was denied.
All three of them are singers. Look at that. Let me ask you, so she ends up with Andy.
Yes. The obvious one, but
I will say in the book, that happens on like the second to the last page, and it's just Tamara just kind of goes, I should be with Andy.
Frankly, that's kind of how it goes in the movie, and it's almost kind of how it goes in Far From the Madding Crowd. Yeah,
I think though with both Far From the Madding Crowd, and with the movie, I do think they more play with it. Like again, I think in Far From the Madding Crowd. Now I only saw the movie. You read, like you said, you partly read the book. It felt like Gabriel did have that kind of like Wesley and Princess Bride. I'm always in love with you.
Yeah.
But I am going to respect your wishes. I am going to...
There's definitely a lot more build in Far From the Madding Crowd of like, they've got this tension. Clearly there's something between them, but there's always a reason why they can't.
Yeah.
And it's either themselves, situations, things of that nature that keep them from being together.
And I think it was the same in the movie because you had where you did find out that they were a item when they were younger. Mm-hmm. And then there's even that moment where, because Andy is...
Tamara Drewe.
Yes, in Tamara Drewe. Where Andy is fixing up her house, or I guess it's her aunt's house. And he goes to the shed, which is where the two of them used to kind of hook up. Yeah. And, he's like, what do you want to do with the shed? It's kind of run down. I could either tear it down or I could fix it. And they kind of have a moment there, where, it's kind of like there's good memories in this shed. And
yeah, my only thing is it feels one-sided. Like it feels like Andy clearly has feelings for her throughout. And there's building on his side. Yeah. She doesn't seem to really care about him.
I'll agree with that. Yeah.
Until the end. Like she likes that he is there to help her fix up the house, But, like, she knows he's coming around and she's inviting men over and having these relationships with other people. You don't do that to somebody if you have feelings for them.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. And we'll get there's something I was thinking, but we'll get to it later.
Okay.
So a couple other characters to mention. You already brought up the character of Glenn, who is an American writer who is here in the movie, played by Bill Camp, who, again, we've talked about another comic book movie he's been in. He's one of the detectives in Joker that questions Joaquin Phoenix's character. He was also, you may know, he's the custodian that teaches Beth chess in The Queen's Gambit.
Oh, I will have to go back and watch that.
I knew you had watched it.
I have watched it.
Yeah.
It's been a while. I enjoyed that show, but yes.
But he kind of in the movie, more so in the book, he's kind of the quote-unquote narrator of the story. The book bounces around. Like, you get Nicholas's... I don't think actually you ever get Nicholas's. You get Beth's point of view. You get... I forgot Jodie's friend's name, but one of the teenage girls, you get her point of view. But it's really Glenn who is kind of, he's the one that kind of experiences it all. He's witnessing things that...
Almost like he's writing a story.
Yeah. And again, we don't... I'm going to completely... So, just because my brain's jumping into various things, but I also want to mention the character of Beth, who I would say in the book is probably the second main character next to Tamara Drewe. But in the movie, she's played by Tamsin Krieg, who I recognized, but I couldn't place it. And so I looked up her IMDb. I couldn't figure it out. Apparently, she's in Shaun of the Dead, has a small part in Shaun of the Dead. So that might be what I recognize her from. But I didn't know. I didn't recognize anything else. But what did you think, since I just talked about kind of the layout of the graphic novel? There's that one moment in the movie in which Beth talks directly to the camera.
Yeah.
And I just found that weird. It's almost like you should have committed to that and had that happen throughout the movie. It was kind of weird that it just happened in this one moment. It's almost as if they went, yeah, there's no other way for us to explain this part of the movie.
I'll be honest, I kept expecting you to find out like there was someone she was speaking to. It was an odd moment, and it went on for a while.
Yeah.
So I don't think it made the impact that it was intended to make. Does that make sense?
Yeah. But what would you have thought if they had made that a actual narrative piece of the movie? Like, actually had, like I said, the book's told by, but had Glenn talking directly to you, had the teenage girls talking directly to you.
I don't think I would want that.
Okay.
Just me personally.
Yeah.
I could, it would be a different movie, and I think if they could commit to it and do it in a way, but I would much rather like see the events play out than have somebody just tell me what, like, just show me.
Yeah.
Don't tell me, show me.
How do you think they could have... So that moment is her explaining that she's fully aware that her husband cheats on her.
Yes.
And that he does things to kind of lull her into a sense of security. Like, he'll say he's going to be with a friend, then she tries to catch him not being with the friend, but then he's actually with the friend. And so... And then once she kind of feels like, I guess, he's not doing the bad thing is when he then does the bad things, or he's just very sneaky about it. So she's explaining that to us, the audience. How do you think they could have relayed all of that without adding another several minutes to the movie?
I think you could have had the conversation of her talking to Glenn about it. Like, I feel like that would be a good character. She was comfortable with him. We'd already had several scenes where they would talk to each other. I mean, it's a very vulnerable conversation to have. It's basically saying, like, I'm aware he's gaslighting me. I'm aware he's a narcissist, but I don't know what to do. And I can't prove it.
Yeah.
And it's just... I mean, it makes you feel for that character even more than you already did. But it also kind of like teaches that sympathy of like I don't want to say we've all, but people have seen individuals who are in marriages where a person is not faithful. And you go, how can that person stay in this relationship when they know their partner is not faithful? But like they love them, and it was an interesting scene. I don't know if it was needed, frankly. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I feel like I got that. Like she knows, but she doesn't know.
Like she doesn't know how manipulative.
Yeah, she doesn't know how far it goes.
Yeah. She knows
something
she's being manipulated,
wrong.
but she doesn't know to what extent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I feel like that could have been sufficient without her just talking directly into the camera about that.
All right, we'll be right back.
Hey, it's Nicole Byer here. Let me ask you something. Are you tired of endless swiping on dating apps? Fed up with awkward first dates and disappointing hookups? Girl, same. Welcome to Why Won't You Date Me, the podcast where I figure out love and how to suck less at dating. Each week, I get real with comedians, friends, and celebrities about their love lives. We swap dating horror stories, awkward hookups, and dive into the messy and wonderful world of relationships. I've chatted with amazing guests like Conan O'Brien, Whitney Cummings, Sarah Silverman, Trixie Mattel, Tiffany Haddish, and so many more. So whether you're single, mingling, or booed up, there's something in it for everyone. Tune into Why Won't You Date Me with me, Nicole Byer, and discover insights that might just save you from your next dating disaster. Listen and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And catch full video episodes on YouTube. New episodes drop every Friday.
Let's look at the three, like I said, the three men in Tamara's life. So you've got Nicholas, who, as we're talking about here, she's more of a temptation for him. We've got Andy, who sees more of that. Kind of a theme in the story is that returning home. And so I guess Ben sees her, or not Ben, excuse me, Andy sees her as more of it's that past and coming back to that past. Something that Tamara is trying to avoid, more so in the book, I think, than in the movie, where she doesn't really want to be there. She's more there just to get the affairs in order with the house, and she just wants to sell the house. The whole thing about it being Andy's house,
yeah,
that's not in the book. So, yeah.
I don't know. But I think maybe it was them trying to play off the idea that, like, in Far From the Madding Crowd, she lived on part of the farm.
Maybe, but also then Gabriel losing
he loses his
cottage and land.
He loses everything.
Yes.
And then she becomes the farmer, and he knows more about farming than she does.
Yes. So,
like, he runs a lot of it, but it is her farm.
Yeah. Which in both the movie and the book of Tamara Drewe, they have when she arrives, she sets the alarm off, and he comes over there, and he's the one that he turns the alarm back off. I think in both cases, I know this is the case in the book, he knows the code. Like, he's, even when Tamara's aunt was living there, like, he still helped her maintain the house, and all. But so again, we've got Andy kind of looking at her more of like his past love and that life. Then we've got Ben, who I will say in the book, they are already together. We don't see them meet. They're already an item. Whereas in the movie, we see them meet. And I think Ben sees her more as the trophy, the fantasy, maybe. And then, of course, Tamara herself is trying to figure out exactly
who is she is.
Yeah.
Is she home? Is she temptation? Is she fantasy? What is she?
So I know I've kind of already asked this question, but is this movie romantic in any way? Or is it just about what romance does to people? Do you get what I'm saying by that?
Yeah. I don't feel any kind of romantic tension between really any of the characters. Because, like, yeah, she ends up with Andy, but I'll be honest, I don't feel like that's going to be a relationship that lasts forever. Especially if, like you're saying in the book, where she's just like, well, all right, I'll date you. Like, okay, in a couple of years, what are we looking at here? Obviously, the relationship between her and, what's his name, Nicholas?
Yes.
That's just toxic and terrible. And even she realizes it at a certain point of like, this is terrible. What have I done?
Because when their affair is discovered, because she just sees it as like a fling.
Yeah.
But when their affair is discovered and Nicholas says, well, that's a relief because now I can leave Beth and we can be together. You can tell that terrifies her.
Right.
Because that is not at all what she wants.
Yeah.
So, but again, it is that her not quite knowing, because does she want the notoriety that she's getting from dating Ben, you know, or does she want what she feels is security of the relationship she has with Nicholas, you know, that whether it's looking at him as like a mentor, might even could say a father figure in a way, which is you, you know, but again, what she aspires to be. But then you've got, you know, Andy, which is just pure love in a way, not from her end, but from Andy's end. And maybe just, would she accept being quote unquote normal? Yeah. So, which it does at the end of the book, Glenn's telling on the last page, he finds out that Tamara has written a novel and that it's about a writer's retreat in the country, which makes him a little worried. Which we'll get into why he'd be a little worried in a minute.
Oh.
So we talked about kind of the narrative framework in the movie. Another thing they do is they take these two teenage girls who are in the book not as prevalent as they are in the movie. I felt that in the movie, the girls almost act as your Greek chorus.
Yeah.
Like, they're narrating the drama. They are obsessed with everything that's happening. Did you find those characters useful? Did you find them funny, annoying? Did you find them accurate to what they were?
I mean, they're definitely annoying. But also, I feel like they were kind of the things that forced... Is it Tamara?
Yes.
Am I pronouncing it right when I say Tamara? Okay. Kind of forced Tamara to wake up, because they would throw a wrench in whatever was happening in basically all of the relationships she had. Like, the relationship she had with Ben, the young girl was jealous, and so she sends out that she, you know, she's a teenager who loves a rock guy, drummer guy. Yes.
So they break into Tamara's house
and send a weird email.
Send an email to Nicholas, Ben, and Andy about a hookup.
Yeah.
Which is meant to be a joke, but I'm like, how do you make that a joke?
Which honestly kind of plays into
the
Far
Valentine.
From the Madding Crowd. Yeah. She sends
But she's the one that does it.
Yeah, she does do it, but it's supposed to kind of be a joke, and I think she flippantly adds a wax seal. She adds a wax seal that says "Marry Me" on it. And so that is when Mr. Brookwood, I can't
something
remember.
like that.
Yeah, something like that. He becomes obsessed with her.
Yeah.
And so that kind of plays into his character equivalent in Tamara Drewe is the Nicholas. That is kind of the start of him being obsessed.
Yeah. I mean, he already, when she shows up, like, he's completely
like,
distracted. And
his
like,
eyes jump out of his head. You hear a wooga and his tongue falls out of his mouth and it becomes a staircase. It's a whole thing. So you've got that moment. I don't know. But it also didn't make sense to me. Like, why did Ben react the way he did when he got that email from her?
Yeah. I mean, Ben kind of is. It's weird. They're portrayed a little differently in the movie versus the graphic novel, because I think in the movie he wasn't a horrible guy. He wasn't a great guy. I mean, nobody's great in the movie, but in the novel, the graphic novel, he's a horrible dude.
Mm.
To give you an idea, like, he is the one that discovers the girls are breaking into Tamara's house. But in the movie, he then tells Tamara. I mean, Tamara's right there. And he says, hey, this is what's been happening. That doesn't happen in the novel. In the novel, he just confronts the one girl, which actually I think her name is Jody, confronts the one girl, and then he almost plays with the idea of the fact that because she says, I love you and all that. But he does, like, you're too young.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really weird. Then we get the point of view from her friend, like her telling her friend what had happened, whether or not she's a reliable narrator in that case. We don't know because we don't see it happen.
I also feel like it kind of plays a little bit into bits of what was happening in Far From the Madding Crowd, of like, you see what Bathsheba's actually doing, and then you get the perspective of people from the town and like their rumor mill and talking about things, and how does Gabriel respond when these rumors are flying around and things like that. And so I get it, because that is a big part of it. Is Tamara Drewe is very, she is almost a mythical figure in this town and people have rumors about her and they talk about her and what is true, what isn't true, and what matters, what doesn't.
Yeah. So going back to where you're getting some of this, the DNA of Thomas Hardy's story and all that, let me throw something at you that the movie does not do.
Okay.
I actually think the character of Jody, the teenage girl that's in love with Ben, is supposed to be Fanny.
Oh, no.
So in the novel, after he confronts her about breaking into the house, he tells her, he says, hey, look, return everything. He goes, and he apparently gives her a demo CD of his band Splice. A rare CD, like nobody else would have this CD. It's rare. And that next time he has a gig, he's going to get her and her friend in for free and all that. And she's walking on cloud 9. She's happy, all this. And then you find out that she accidentally overdoses.
What?
And she is found dead the very next day.
I don't like that.
But you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like when I found that out because we had watched the movie before I had finished reading Tamara Drewe. As soon as I got to that part, I started going, I actually think she is the
Fanny
parallel
character
of Fanny.
Oh, that's so sad. Because you think that the other singer in his band is kind of supposed to be that, because she's pregnant and she has a baby. Which in Far From the Madding Crowd, there's this character, Fanny, who is in love with the soldier that Bathsheba ends up marrying at some point. And he's kind of the Ben equivalent. But you find out that they were supposed to get married, but she got confused about the place where they were supposed to meet. And so they didn't get married, and he was too embarrassed. But she is pregnant. And she's destitute and alone and starving. He finds her and he says, hey, I'm going to give you money. Meet me here later. And then he doesn't. And she ends up going into like labor and dies during childbirth.
Because she's out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, she's starving and weak. And yeah. So you find all of that out. And it's a whole thing. So yeah, that's rough.
Yeah.
I don't care for that. Like,
Yeah.
that seems to come out of nowhere.
I did
At
watch
least-
a couple of the special features that were on the Blu-ray, and they talk about it.
Mhm.
It's the director and Gemma
Mhm.
are talking about that moment.
Mhm.
And Gemma says, like, she's glad they did not include that in the movie. So in the original, in the Thomas Hardy story, the soldier, he's killed by Nicholas, the Nicholas character.
Brookwood.
Yeah.
Foxwald.
Yeah, because he assaults Bathsheba, and so he's defending her, shoots him. The one that
Assaults, but yes, he is not nice to Bathsheba.
He's very
like
aggressive.
harassing her.
Yeah.
But also he had a very short temper.
Yes.
And yeah.
Whereas in the graphic novel and in the movie for Tamara Drewe, it is Nicholas who is the one that ends up dying at the end.
Yeah.
Trampled by
cows.
Although there is also the fact that Glenn and him get into a little bit of an argument, and Glenn shoves him and he hits his head on the trough.
Yeah.
That happens in the graphic novel as well.
Okay.
It's done differently in the graphic novel. You find out that he's dead, but you don't know how.
Oh.
And then it's later revealed by Glenn that they had that argument.
Okay.
Which is why Glenn's a little worried when
Yeah.
Tamara's going to release this novel, because there is a part where Glenn goes to that spot and that's when we find out everything, and he's like crying, sitting on the trough crying, and Tamara comes up and starts talking to him and goes to ask him questions, and he realizes
she's interviewing him.
So it's, again, she's supposed to be this investigative journalist. And so did she figure it out? I think is the way they imply at the end that
that's kind of cool.
He's worried that she's releasing this book. But what were your thoughts on them doing that, the death of Nicholas?
I mean, the way that story is told, obviously, I'm never going to root for a person to die. However, that being said...
I'm glad he died.
No. I'm not glad he died. He deserved to have to go through a divorce and his wife get everything and he be publicly shamed forever. That's what he deserved. Not to be trampled by cows. But what I will say is that it wouldn't have made sense, at least in the movie, because the Ben character is not that unlikable. Like, he was not that kind of aggressive.
Yeah.
The way that character is in Far From the Madding Crowd. Like, that character is aggressive.
Yeah.
Whereas
the Dominic Cooper version in the movie is more of, we are a couple for
Instagram but pre-Instagram really, but like for paparazzi. Like, you look good on my arm in front of paparazzi. But like, I'm not saying he doesn't like her, but he's not that committed.
No,
because
he gives her his ex's
wedding
engagement
ring. Yeah.
Which that's from the book too. He does that in the book as well.
But like Nicholas, he does seem kind of like this unstoppable force who you then find out is he's still human because he can die.
Yeah. What were your thoughts on, because this is something that was in the movie, and I mentioned this to you when we were watching it, that is not in the book, them creating a relationship between Beth and Glenn?
I love a love story. And that is, I think, the closest you come to a romantic relationship in this story. But I don't think it was necessary. I think it would work just as well for Beth to kind of find her own way.
Yeah. Because they are just more, in the book, it's more that he's just a nice guy that is always there.
Which is kind of how it starts in the movie.
Yeah.
But then it's like there's this like romantic tension between the two of them.
Yeah, the closest you get in the book is there is a moment where because Glenn uses their bathroom.
Okay.
Like in there, because you saw that moment where he's
Oh yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
Beth and Nicholas are having their argument right outside the door.
Yeah. Like of all the
which
places.
is in the graphic novel. But there's a moment where he talks about that Nicholas was kind of getting snippy with him because he was like passing him going to the bathroom, and Nicholas made some comment about how, well, you've kind of, make yourself right at home, even though he had been doing it for, you assume, years. And then after Nicholas has died, there is a part in the graphic novel where Glenn is asking Beth, because he's mentioned throughout the book how when Nicholas is off on his trips and doing his thing, that Glenn helps around the farm and does a lot of the chores that Nicholas should be doing. And he mentions that after Nicholas died, he's, asked Beth, what do you need? And pretty much saying like, he's finished his book.
Yeah.
He's there
for
his friend, but
right.
it's more like a friend, not any type of romantic thing that the movie heavily implies. Not heavily implies, just flat out does it because they kiss.
Yeah. I will say, I feel like movies made, especially during that time, and even now, like, you don't see a lot of friendships between a man and a woman that's strictly platonic. And so I feel like that's probably why they did it, is just like, well, I don't know, it doesn't make sense for a man and a woman to be friends.
When Harry Met Sally.
Which ends in them being in a relationship.
Yeah. So I think we've pretty much covered.
Yeah.
Is there, I think we've hit a lot of the moments, but is there any moment that would be like when you think of this movie, like that's the moment you think about? Any scenes?
I don't know. There's a couple, the cows. Now, we'll want to warn people both in this book, in this movie, and in Far From the Madding Crowd, the dog doesn't make it.
There's a bad dog in both of them. Yeah.
There's a dog that doesn't make it to the end of the movie in both movies.
Yes, does not happen in the graphic novel though. Ben's dog is responsible for causing the stampede that kills Nicholas, but there is the neighbor who owns the cows does not shoot and kill the dog.
Right.
Yeah, like she does in the movie.
So just be warned for that. I think that the stampede, that was quite the impression.
Yeah.
Because it honestly, even though I knew that in Far From the Madding Crowd, one of the characters gets shot and killed, I was still surprised to see that. Yeah, it's a different character for one, but I was also surprised to see that in this movie.
Especially to connect it to kind of that the sheep herd that stampedes in the Far From the Madding Crowd.
Yeah.
And that happening at the very beginning of the story, but this stampede happening at the end of the story.
Because in Far From the Madding Crowd, the Gabriel character has this herd of sheep, and he's said, like, he's poured all of his money into these sheep, and he's working hard, and he's close to paying it off, but that is where all of his money is. And he has this young dog who goes out and...
He has two dogs, one that's very well trained and one he's trying to train.
Yeah. It's a little different, but anyways, so the young dog, he's like, oh, he's not in. I guess he's just out still eating. It'll be fine. And so he goes to bed. He wakes up in the morning, realizes the sheep are gone. The dog is gone. He goes, the dog has like herded all of the sheep off of a cliff. And now all of the sheep are dead.
Yeah. And
he's lost everything.
Yeah.
It is awful.
Yeah.
And he ends up shooting the dog because in the book he says he's too good at his job of herding sheep that he saw a group of sheep, he had to herd them somewhere. And so he thought he did a good job.
Oh.
It was rough.
Well, it's kind of interesting to transition into my next part here.
Okay, sorry.
So I think as we're closing this up, before we get into our final decision, before we get into Bag It, Stack It, or Trade It, I want to ask you.
Okay.
This is our date night episode.
Okay.
So I have to ask, is this actually a romantic movie, or is it anti-romantic, Because honestly, this story is about adultery.
Yeah.
It's about selfishness.
Yeah.
People using each other.
Mm-hmm.
So before we get into a final decision, as it is a movie, would you recommend this to a couple for Valentine's Day, or is it the wrong vibe?
I mean, I think it's going to depend on how secure you are in your relationship. It's funny. Like, you and I are in a very healthy, happy relationship with each other. And so we can watch these relationships and be like, oh, these stupid, silly people. Isn't this funny? But I don't know. Maybe not your first Valentine's Day together. Maybe that doesn't set a really good precedent. It was good, but I wouldn't say it's a romantic movie. It doesn't, you don't end it going like, oh, and wanting to look into each other's eyes and be like, don't you want to love like that?
Yeah. No, I agree. I don't really have much to add to that.
Yeah.
I kind of agree with everything you said. Like, do I think it's a good movie for, a couple to watch?
Sure.
Sure. Again, if you're an established couple, I agree with you. I wouldn't do it if you just started dating.
I mean,
But-
yeah.
Yeah.
Or do and be like, what do you think of that Nicholas character, huh? How do you feel about what the decisions he's making?
Yeah. I think Nicholas had some points. Yeah.
And I just called an Uber. Sorry.
Okay, well, let's get into it. Final decision: bag it, stack it, or trade it. What say you?
I think it's a stack it. It is an enjoyable movie. Like, it's funny, it's silly, it's a little weird and off, but I'm fine with a little weird. It's an interesting, especially if you are familiar with the original source material. I would highly recommend, if you're not familiar with the original source material, looking into it. You and I were both very pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, no, you're talking about Far from the Madding Crowd, not
not
Tamara Drewe graphic novel.
No, like the story Far from the Madding Crowd. You and I were both like pleasantly surprised. Like, hey, I really enjoyed this. But yeah, I would stack it. It's definitely worth at least one watch.
Yeah, I said stack it as well. Again, as an adaptation of a graphic novel, it does its job. It's smart. It's funny, like you said. The acting is great. It's great. And since I did read the graphic novel, I will say it does capture the graphic novel and Posy Simmonds' work perfectly. It's a good blend of romance-ish with satire.
Yeah.
I do say the graphic novel lays on the satire a little bit more than I think the movie did. Again, is it a date night movie? That all depends. Because
Depends on your relationship.
Yeah, this isn't your cozy romantic movie. It is a story about messy desire. Again, we talked about the infidelity, the adultery. Honestly, just terrible people.
Narcissism.
Yeah. So if your Valentine's vibe is that sweet, uplifting type of vibe, yeah, you're going to want to pass on this. But if your vibe is, let's watch something intelligent but a bit chaotic, and then let's talk about relationships and everything afterwards, then I think this is a fantastic date night movie because you and I thoroughly enjoyed our experience preparing for this. So, which brings me into my recommendation, because if you are interested in Tamara Drewe, or you do watch it and you find yourself thinking, wow, these people are making a lot of questionable romantic choices, then I am going to recommend the 2015 movie Far from the Madding Crowd.
Yes.
Starring Carey Mulligan. Because where Tamara Drewe plays on the ideas of comedy and chaos, Far from the Madding Crowd gives them real emotional weight, and there's more sincerity in it. So whereas we're kind of saying Tamara Drewe is probably not the greatest date night movie, Far from the Madding Crowd is a little bit closer. I'm not going to say, I still won't say it's the ideal date night movie, but it's a little bit closer. So yeah, so if Tamara Drewe is the Valentine's date night movie for couples wanting that messy sharpness, wit, then Far from the Madding Crowd is the date night movie for the couples who want the more sweeping, elegant, romantic, heartfelt story. So, I mean, do you agree? Do you think that Hardy's romance is better.
Yes, there's a lot more romance.
Yes.
In there's a lot more of that like build between the relationship of Bathsheba and Gabriel throughout the story, as opposed to Tamara Drewe, where it kind of seems like by the end of it, she's just like, oh, you're the only one left.
Yeah, that is kind of how it feels a little bit. That she's just like, well, Andy, yeah, I think.
Well, there are 3 men that
Yeah.
I was interested in here, and
One's dead, and
one has a teenager hanging on him, and
yeah. Although she leaves Ben in the graphic novel,
Mhm.
like they're not even still kind of buddy, kind of like the movie more implies. Like she gets really upset with him and breaks up with him. So there you have it. There's our date night, year number 6 of our date night here for Valentine's Day. So it was a play. I really enjoyed kind of the combination of doing the Far From the Madding Crowd with Tamara Drewe, you reading Far From the Madding Crowd, me reading Tamara Drewe, and the discussions we had. Tried not to have too many discussions so that we could save them for recording, but I enjoyed kind of the way we were going. Ooh, there was this part, and then the way this played with that, and we kind of talked about all of that. So I really enjoyed that.
I did too. It was fun. I really liked getting to incorporate like modern romance storytelling and the classic Victorian romance, which kind of has had a resurgence in the last few years with Bridgerton, and just, it's been fun.
Yeah.
And I enjoy discussing stuff like this with you, even on not Valentine's Day.
Yeah. We'll have to check out the Madame Bovary version that she also did, and
let's write it down because we will forget.
we'll put that on the notes for upcoming episodes.
Add it to the calendar.
But for this Valentine's episode, let me give you my last line. So Tamara Drewe is a story about love, but it's also about narrative. About how people return home and discover that romance isn't just something you feel, it's something other people imagine for you. And whether it's Hardy's Countryside or Simmonds' satire, the truth is always the same. Love is never simple, especially when an entire town is watching. So for today, for Moving Panels, I'm Laramy Wells, and I'll see you on the other side of the page.